Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
And good afternoon, folks. Happy Monday. I'm so used to it being Wednesday night that I'm used to saying evening. But it is afternoon here, so welcome to the Monday show. Rare live Monday show. But
and what a morning I've had.
yeah, what a morning Max has had. We were supposed to have a guest on today's show for Monday, but they had to cancel. So I kind of decided to leave the studio. And folks, you know, most people know Max Sand, the co-host of the Whitfield Report. But what some of you might not know, although we've talked about it pretty in depth here, is Max is the proprietor of his own establishment, the Cringe Coffee House. So we're going to take a trip to the Cringe Coffee House, and we have a few people over on Rumble and a few people over on my old Sam Whitfield YouTube channel, the one channel that isn't banned. We will be there for a little bit, but then once we get to some spicy stuff, then we'll move fully over to Rumble and X. So
it gets a little hairy.
Well, I would say very hairy since it's Johnny Fox.
And some might even say furry.
Yeah, it might get a little furry. So, the reason
I don't get the joke.
The reason why I want to. Oh, hi, Shmuley.
Hello.
No, hold on.
I am Shmuley.
I was told by chat that you quit the show.
I quit the show.
That's what chat said. Because you're not here every single week.
Do you know how much shit I have to do behind the scenes for the show to go on?
Yes.
So much. And Sam never does the fucking ad reads. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I don't know what you guys are talking about with this fur and stuff. Like, I hope you're alluding to something that's going to happen.
Well, you know, folks in the show may or may not know that about a year ago, Max came on board the show to help out after Apex retired. What some of you might not know is
semi-retired. He's coming back on soon.
Yeah, semi-retired. What some of you folks might not know is prior to Max coming on, I had this one pretty peculiar guest, to put it politely. A guy by the name of Jack Pierce, or at the time, that was what he called himself. And Jack Pierce claimed to be a horror genre author. So I had him on the show, and as an interviewer normally would, I asked him, what inspired you to write your book?
Right. The most obvious question that you kind of have to ask if you're interviewing an artist, but it's the obvious fucking thing to ask. What inspired your art? Yes, and in some ways it's even kind of a dumb question, right? But like, it's expected that you ask an artist this question.
It's a straightforward question.
Yeah.
And so Jack goes off on this rant about this guy by the name of Max Sand, and how he and Max Sand co-wrote this book, but then not me. Right. But we'll get to that. So he starts off by saying that Max, that that this guy Max, he helped to write the manuscript, but then Max stabbed in the back, and so then he had to like publish it on his own. And well, that was like the most, and it didn't stop there. He went off on this whole rant about how Max had been harassing him for years ever since then. And so out of curiosity,
which is true.
And so out of curiosity, like I just want people to understand, like I asked him one question. It got like a 25-minute, like literally half of the show was about how bad Max was.
Yeah. Which is also true, right?
Like I asked him one question and just Max even that Max just took over the show without even only in this case he wasn't even there. So I was so curious that I looked up this Max Sand guy, and you know, kind of an edgelord, but hey, this guy, you know, he tweets a lot of pro-Trump stuff, a lot of, you know, pro-America stuff, same stuff that I, you know, was kind of tweeting. And so I thought, I'm going to talk to this guy. And we did. And the rest, as they say, is history. Yeah. Now, what was
fortunate timing, really, because the show, you know, you were in a state, you're like, I don't know what to do going forward. My long time, and by the way, great co-host. As I've gone back, and because I didn't know about Sam's show, as I've gone back and watched a lot of the archives, I really enjoyed Apex. And so I understand the gap that he had to fill. And I didn't initially say, oh, me. I said like, oh, well, some of our guys, we could sit in a couple weeks. Obviously, Shmuley has been the only one besides me. But that's okay, you know.
Yeah, and we're
worked
grateful.
Really well, and people seem to like the dynamic of us. Although people are like, people like, oh, Max, you talk over him and he dominates them in half the time. Like, yeah, that's called having a show.
Half of the time, Max completes my thoughts, though, too. So then this gets even funnier, though, because I was like, so wait. So Jack told me all this, like, bad, you know, like, horrendous stuff about you that obviously isn't true. But then Max was like, oh, wait. He was actually talking about my brother, Max, M-A-X-X, Sand. And at that point, I was even, like, more confused. Like, Johnny Fox's narrative that he constructed is a real head scratcher, honestly. And this tends to be kind of a theme. So, I guess I'll let you take it from there because you can explain the shit much better than I can.
And isn't it fun? So I first came across Johnny Fox because of something completely unrelated to my brother, actually. Complete surprise that he was friends with this guy. So he did Falco Punch 64. That was his YouTube name at the time.
Yep.
And he did like Ralph related content and things. And I'd gone into his chat looking, oh, maybe this guy's funny. Who knows? There's a bunch of people there. And, you know, Ralph content's pretty low tier, but whatever. You know, I was bored. I go into chat and I was like, oh, yeah, this looks cool. And he's like, Max Sand is dead. Like, the fuck I am? What the fuck is this guy talking about? I just jump in his chat and he's like yelling that I'm dead. It turns out he concocted a story for my brother where my brother got hit by a salt truck. And he went told people this for years. That's after, by the way, he's faked his own death, but that's a whole other fucking can of worms. By the way, he admitted on his Discord after my show this morning, flashing a little bit forward, he admitted to faking his own death. So we got that. Anyway, he had faked his own death in 2020 because people trolled him or whatever. Then he came back because that's what happens when you commit suicide. Oh God, we're on YouTube.
Yeah,
we're already getting too much on YouTube. But when you unalive yourself, but not for realsies.
Well, I think at this point, this might actually be, since no one is watching on YouTube, this might be a good time to say, if you want to watch the rest of the show, come watch on Rumble.
Rumble or on Twitter, X, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
We'll still be live there, and they probably won't censor us for words as basic as that describe a very specific phenomenon that you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube for some reason. It's not advertiser friendly. Let me ask you a question. It'll be fun. I'll jump in and feel it out and jump in the call so I'm on the stream. And what happened is, as soon as I jumped in, I heard my brother's voice, which, by the way, I hadn't talked to him in several years. I am estranged from my family for many, many years, which is a whole nother story I could talk about another time. But I don't think we have the amount of time needed to talk about Johnny Fox and that. So anyway, I haven't been in contact with my biological family since like 2009. And here I am, my brother's in there. And I was like, oh shit, this change of plans. What do I do now? And then I was like, oh, it'll be funny because he's Max Sand with 2 X's and I'm Max Sand with 1 X. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be like, I'm the real Max Sand and you're an imposter. I'm just going to do a bit, right? But I never got that far because as soon as I came in, he had a conniption fit